I do believe we are live. Good evening, folks, or as we say here on the Watchman News, brace yourselves. It's only going to get weirder. Tonight's top story is something you won't believe unless you're already desensitized by 2024. You know, the year when UFOs became boring and AI started writing your Aunt Karen's Facebook posts. So let's dive into it. President Joe Biden, Commander-in-Chief, Amtrak enthusiast, and part-time ice cream connoisseur, has officially pardoned his son, Hunter Biden. Yes, you heard that right, folks. Not since Keeping Up with the Kardashians have we witnessed such a blatant display of family loyalty. Now, I know what you're thinking. Didn't he promise unity? And to that, I say, well, he's united the family around the get-out-of-jail-free card. Hunter's been through more investigations than the FBI's coffee budget, and yet here we are. Some people collect Pokemon cards, but this guy, he's collecting scandals. Look, say what you will about Hunter, but the man's life has been a roller coaster. From questionable business deals in Ukraine to laptop drama that makes Watergate look like a high school group chat. But now, he's got the ultimate immunity, presidential dad. Look, let's be honest though. Folks, this sets a precedent. Every kid in America now thinks they can pull a Hunter. Oh, I got caught sneaking out? Better call Dad to sign an executive order. Kids these days are going to start handing their parents pardon requests instead of report cards. But here's where it gets interesting. The media reaction? Ooh boy. It's like watching cats fight in a bathtub. On one side, you've got the mainstream network saying, oh, it's just a father's love. And on the other, you've got conservative outlets screaming, nepotism, corruption, the apocalypse is nigh. Meanwhile, I'm over here like, do we even have a functioning Congress, or did they all move to their vacation homes? Can we talk about that laptop? It's the Where's Waldo of politics. Every 6 months, it resurfaces with new emails, new photos, and somehow the same level of chaos. At this point, I wouldn't be surprised if it runs for office in 2028. Vote for the laptop. At least it has memory. But the real kicker, Hunter's art career. That's right, he's a painter now. Abstract stuff. Think Jackson Pollock meets a very expensive lawyer. His paintings are selling for hundreds of thousands of dollars, which begs the question, who's buying this stuff? Is it art lovers, political allies, or just people who really like scandal-laced decor? Here's the thing, folks. Love him or hate him, Hunter Biden is the Forrest Gump of controversy. He's everywhere, but unlike Forrest, he's not running across America. He's running up legal fees. By the way, the breaking news, Hunter Biden just released a memoir titled, Pardon Me, The Art of Being a Biden. Pre-orders are through the roof. No word yet on whether the book comes with a free painting. If Joe Biden can pardon Hunter, maybe there's hope for the rest of us. Forget student loans, start racking up personal scandals. Who needs forgiveness when you've got a presidential dad on speed dial? Stay weird, America, and remember, if your family drama isn't headline worthy, are you even trying? I have to give credit for that to ChatGPT. I initially had asked Copilot, which is another AI thing, to write me a funny monologue about the Hunter Biden pardon. And it wouldn't do it. In fact, it gave me a couple of scenarios. One of them involved a situation to where Joe was talking to his dog, Major, in the Oval Office about the pardon. And it was okay-ish. It wasn't that great. I wanted something more late-night comedy show. And it wouldn't do it. It would not do it. And I thought, okay, well, I'll throw the question into ChatGPT. I figured GPT was gonna tell me to go get bent, but it did not tell me to go get bent. It spit that out, and I thought it did a pretty damn good job. So anyway, Wow, that is in the news tonight, and we are going to cover that. We are going to get to that momentarily. First off, the thumbnail, Leo. First off, I want to thank Leo, and the reason why is because he bumped us up enough to get a payment, and I think it'll be a couple of months before we actually see that payment. But his purchase of sneakers, I love saying sneakers, was enough to do it. And I always have been transparent on this kind of stuff. Our Amazon affiliate, we don't get rich, folks. There were 4 items, as you can see on the screen, that was purchased over the course of last month. And it gave us a total of $5.94 in commissions. And I got here our payment balance, which we have $4.71 in our balance. So that will get added to that. And like I say, it might be a couple of months before we actually see that payment, but it's much appreciated. And I just wanted to be very clear about that. Folks, here's the back end of our Amazon affiliate. We do not make a fortune off of that. Not even close. It's been since August since we've even gotten a payout, to give you any idea. So I want to thank Leo again. Thank you, brother. And I really hope, I'm sure that they don't watch the show. I didn't want to give away anything. But, brother, you need to get a pair of those and check them out yourself. I'm telling you, they are the best on the planet. To have a pair of shoes last me like 7-8 years is insane. Insane. But, those are some kick-ass shoes. Anyway, man, it's been crazy. Today I obviously was watching around the different news articles and stuff going on. And by the way, Leo, are you talking about the actual thumbnail picture or that picture? Because they're kind of both equally disturbing. The thumbnail picture, I asked AI to give me a picture of the alpaca lips. And that's what it gave me. And now, here's the crazy thing. I forgot. I was going to bring that up. Hang on. Let me bring up Meta AI so I can bring these pictures up. Crazy. Something, and it's kind of eerie, to be honest, what Meta AI came up with. And I tried to get it to better define something, and it would not do it. It would not do it at all. I don't want to do that. Let me duplicate that tab. Pull that off. And, sweetness. Let me put this over here, and then real quick one more. I want to show you this, because this was a little unsettling. And it wouldn't, like I said, I asked it to show me you're going to see a patch on my shoulder. And I asked for it to show me that patch. And it wouldn't do it. It wouldn't give me a better shot of that patch. And you're going to see what I'm talking about here in a moment. Kind of eerie. So I've been doing a lot of stuff, obviously, with Meta AI's Imagine Me prompt. It's kind of cool. And I've even had it really imagine me in some really, really stupid things. One of them here, I don't know if it'll show up or not. Yeah, it does show up in full. So, if you've ever wondered the question, if it's ever really bothered you about what I would look like sitting on a unicorn on a merry-go-round in a pink tutu, well, there you go. That's what I would look like if I was sitting on a unicorn on a merry-go-round in a pink tutu. So, anywho, I asked AI, and this is the prompt I gave it. This is all I said. I said, imagine me as a deep state operator. And I gave you that verbatim, word for word. Imagine me as a deep state operator. This is the image that it came up with. And the patch on the arm is very weird to me. Because it's got the stars or the stripes, not the stars. It's got the stripes. But it doesn't have the blue box with the stars. And on the lower part, it's got some type of a blue design, and I can't make out what it is in the blue design. I kept trying to get AI to give me a better look at that patch, but it would not do that. However, I asked it to reimagine me again, and this was the other picture that it came up with. I'm assuming that the patch here was supposed to say deep state. AI is not real good at spelling in pictures. And then all the patches are weird. And again, it's got that odd patch, but it won't show me a picture of that patch alone. It just will not do it. When I prompted for it, the first time I prompted for it, it gave me this. And I don't know if that means anything. If somebody knows something that might mean, let me know. The second time when I said no, I'm talking about the patch that's got the stripes on it. That's all it would give me. It will not give me a good picture of what that patch looks like. And I just find that interesting. So that's what the thumbnail is. AI, I asked it to give me an image of the alpaca lips, and then the other part was obviously an image from Meta AI. So I like playing with that Meta AI. It does it makes some pretty interesting pictures. So between that and Photoshop, I can come up with some pretty good thumbnails. So anyway, have a sip of coffee here, and we'll get into this Biden thing. And I'm unsure about this. I really am. Oh, wow. You can't wear them because, wow. Now, see, I have an extra wide foot. And, not a wide foot, an extra wide foot. And it's kind of hard to find shoes that fit me well. And so Jen's dad, I can remember he asked her to find out, or ask me what size shoe I wore. And I said, I remember telling her he doesn't want to know. Because I wear a 10.5 extra wide. And that's not such an easy thing to find. And so anyway, he did it. He got me a pair of 10.5 extra wides, and those shoes fit perfect from day one till the day the bottoms literally fell off, like 7 or 8 years later. So Skechers, man, I tell you, I would have never believed it until I had a pair. And they remain comfortable. Those damn things remain comfortable from day one to the day they fell apart. That's a shame you can't find something to fit. Really, 8.5 wide, Kevin? Are those hard to find? Being that they're smaller, and even though only a single wide, not the extra wide, are those hard to find? I know finding extra wide for 10.5 is really hard to do. Once you get up into the bigger sizes, 11, 11.5, 12, and bigger, you can find it a little easier, but 10.5, not so much. What I normally do, if I don't even, what I normally do if I can't find a 10.5, even if I can't find a 10.5 wide, I'll just get an 11. I have a little bit of room on the end, but at least my feet have room enough to at least somewhat sit flat. So my biggest issues with my feet are because they're too wide. I get like these calluses on my big toe as a result of it. Oh yikes, bone spurs. That sucks. That sucks. I've never dealt with them, but I've heard about them, and I hear that if they're in the, I guess you would say, wrong spot, every single step you take just sends like a freaking bolt of lightning up your body. That's what I've heard. I've never had to deal with them. So yeah, this Hunter Biden deal. Like 3 weeks ago, got an article here. November 7th. Biden stands firm on decision not to pardon son Hunter, the White House says. Right? And I get it. A lot of it had to do with the election. Because that wouldn't have boded so well for the Democrats if he would have did that. Even though Biden was out of the running at that time, and Kamala was up to bat, I don't think it would have set well for the Democrats if he would have done that. So the timing of it is not surprising to me, and the fact that he did it is not surprising to me. But, you know, I agree with Tim Pool had commented on this a little while back, you know, obviously before the actual pardon. And Tim was wanting, what he had wished for the situation was for Hunter to fight it in Supreme Court and to maybe get a ruling and set precedent about the application, the firearm application, about it violating your rights, because it does. It does clearly ask you to self-discriminate, and they can't do that. So, you know, I ask, you know, of course, this is a get-out-of-jail-free card handed down to his son, but at the same time, was this done in an effort to prevent it from getting to the Supreme Court, for that, you know, to prevent that argument from even coming up? I suspect so. I suspect that at least has something to do with it. But yeah, it has been. Just, I was joking around, obviously, in the monologue, but it has been going like crazy. I hate these stupid little video things. It has been going around like crazy. Here's what NBC, some news outlet, NBC. Here's what NBC has to say. Joe Biden pardoned his son Hunter Sunday night, a reversal for the president, who reportedly said he would not use his executive authority to pardon his son or commute his sentence. I believe in the justice system, but as I have wrestled with this, I also believe raw politics has infected this process, and it led to a miscarriage of justice. Really? Because I can tell you about a whole lot of people that have gone through the same thing as a result of the Biden administration. And once I made this decision this weekend, there was no sense in delaying it further. I hope Americans will understand why a father and a president would come to this decision. Yeah, 'cause you're crooked, Biden said in a statement, issuing a full and unconditional pardon. And I really don't know how I feel about the whole presidential pardon thing. And it's something that I've thought about before. It's not just now. And here's why I take issue. Overall, over everything, it's not the idea of the president pardoning people. It's the idea of who and how those names get placed before the president. Right? It reminds me much of a you gotta pay to play kind of thing. And I don't think that's right. And in this country, we are supposed to have equal justice. All of us. Every single one of us. And just because I know somebody or there's money to hand somebody in order to put my name on the presidential desk in order to get a pardon, that's not cool. And that's what happens in many of these cases. And that part of it I'm really not cool with. Because there are a whole lot of people from coast to coast that are right now sitting behind bars arrested for something they had nothing to do with. Prosecutors did dirty things, wouldn't allow different types of evidence or what have you, and knowing that person is innocent, still lets them go to jail and sit behind bars because it's another notch in their prosecution belt. And that is not cool. Not even the littlest remote way. I've seen case, of course, there's organizations that have started that help some of these individuals, that help them prove their innocence. There's what is his name? I think it's Jeff something. He's in Missouri. He's still locked up in Missouri. The police tried to kill him. They literally, and when I say kill him, they tried to murder him. And there's even evidence of this because the dude was wearing a watch that had a camera on it. And the watch took video of the incident, and that information came up later on because nobody expected that watch to still be able to provide the video data that it held, but it did. I think his name's Jeff something. I can't remember. It's in Missouri. But the cops literally took him out, I think like middle of nowhere kind of thing, and I think they just kicked the holy hell out of him and left him for dead. And he didn't die. He survived. He survived. And as a result of him surviving a brutal assault by law enforcement, they locked his ass up. They locked his ass up. Where's the justice for him? Because the story's out. Everybody knows what happened. Why isn't he out? Why do we have to go through some big process when the information's already out there? And why the hell hasn't his name hit the desk of the president? So that's why it's not that I don't think that the president should be able to have powers like that. I don't have a problem with that part of it. It's how those names get put in front of them and all of the people that are just shit out of luck because they don't have an avenue for that. But I do think that there needs to be one rule put in place, regardless. And that is that a president cannot pardon family members. I think that is only fair to at least restrict that. Because holy cow, think of what could be done, right? Imagine a president being in office and his son going out, or daughter, and doing all these crazy mad scandals, all this, to rake in money, insider trading, what have you. And rack up all these charges and all these scandals and all that stuff, and then all that the president has to do is say, well, I pardon them. Because the court system could get played that way. If that happened early on in a presidential term, then the suspect, all they would have to do, the president's child, all they would have to do is say, where's my quick trial? I'm supposed to be assured a quick trial. So they have to give that quick trial regardless. Because otherwise, that in itself would be breaking those constitutional rights. So I'm not real keen on them being able to pardon family members. I think they need to change that. I really, really do. So, in other news, if I can bring myself back here, Kash Patel. What can we say about that one? That is awesome. And I will say this. If we don't see moves made this time around with Republicans in control of the House, Senate, and the administration, then I have completely 110% lost faith. Because when we have people like Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy And gosh, everybody else, Kennedy. And then we have Kash Patel. I'm not a big fan of Pam Bondi. There's a couple of, and Marco Rubio, I'm not fans of those. But when it comes to Pam Bondi and when it comes to Marco Rubio, you know, Trump had talked about this before, and I'm sure you've probably heard it. Trump was asked one time why he picked, I think it was Mike Bolton, and or John Bolton. Sorry, not Mike, John Bolton. I agree. January 6 folks never had a speedy trial. I agree, 100%, 100%. I have a feeling when Trump gets in office, he's going to be pardoning most of those people. But I think with John Bolton, Trump was asked about, why in the hell would you give him would you have him in your cabinet? And I'm completely paraphrasing here, but Trump said something to the effect of, he wanted somebody crazy standing behind him because these other countries had no idea what he might do. And I understand that logic. I get that. And so I'm kind of wondering if that's what Pam Bondi and Marco Rubio's jobs really are, to be those crazy people, if you will. So, because I'm not a fan of Pam Bondi, she's not a fan of the Second Amendment, not even remotely a fan of the Second Amendment. She is a staunch supporter of red flag laws, and I don't, and Marco Rubio, I've not been a fan of his for a long time. I don't care for the involvement he had in Venezuela, and just not a fan. I don't like the guy. I don't trust the guy. I think he's a snake, and who knows? Again, that might be a pick that was chose because of the crazy factor, if you will. Yeah, see, and I don't know a whole ton about either one. I probably know a little bit more about Marco Rubio, and I don't like him even a little bit. Pam Bondi, I don't know. What I have heard about her, I don't like. Her anti-Second Amendment stances and her Noahide law stances. Nah. Neither one of them am I good with. Not at all. This is the United States of America. We have freedom of speech. And that goes across the board. Right? That completely across the board. And there is no protected classes. Are we not now trying to get out from underneath of all these protected classes that we've been suffering for the past, since Obama? All of these individuals that, again, protected classes. We're not supposed to say anything. You're supposed to use the proper pronouns. No. Free speech, yo. And I will stand behind that till my last breath. There are no protected classes. So to say that, you can't say nothing bad about Israel, nah, sorry, that doesn't work that way. No protected classes. None. That's extremely important. And she wants to actually put in place criminal laws if you in any way say anything bad about Israel. And no. That's Noahide law. And while I have not seen one instance in the United States of America of Muslims trying to install Sharia law, even though I've heard about it for non-stop for over a decade, how the Muslims were trying to install Sharia law into no. I've not seen one instance of it, not even in Dearborn, Michigan. Not even in Dearborn, Michigan. But do you know what's been snuck in? Noahide law. and it's been snuck in all kinds of schools, universities, and all that, especially in the employment contracts. Like the teachers can't be critical of Israel at all, or they will lose their job. They will lose their job. And this stuff has been, and government employees, the laws have been in place for government employees the same way, whether state, federal, what have you. And I'm against that. I believe in free speech, and that means no protected classes. But, I'm reading chat. Oh, yeah. I don't know about Bobby Jr.'s connections to Venezuela oil at all. I don't know any connections with that. I don't know. I mean, as in he was making money off of it, or kind of curious on that. Well, Kevin, and that's just it. And there's no argument of that, right? You can't even argue that. And you can't argue that at least the traditional Jewish people do not believe Jesus is our Savior, our Messiah. And I can't just walk away from that and say, oh, okay, well, you're all warm and fuzzy, you're all good with me, while you sit there and deny my Savior. Nah, it ain't gonna go down like that. So, and you hit the nail on the head, Kevin. Hit the nail on the head. The Great Deception is real, folks. It is very, very, very real, and it is very, very, very big, and it covers two faith-based systems, and they happen to be the two largest faith-based systems on the planet. I'll let you figure that one out. But if you follow one of those two of the largest faith-based systems on the planet, you are a victim of the Great Deception. And I can prove that real simple. Real simple. All I got to do is ask you, in the Bible, or biblically, what is the first day? What's the first day of the week, biblically? Not your work week, no. Biblically, what's the first day of the week? The command to us is on the seventh day ye shall rest. On the seventh day ye shall rest. Well, the seventh day would be Saturday, not Sunday. Sunday is the first day. That's just one hint. Just one hint. And if that piques your interest, then look to who it is that does get worshipped on Sunday, on first day. You might be surprised. You might be surprised. But that's for each and every one of you to come across on your own. I'm not here to teach the Bible. I'm not here to be a church. But I am here to tell the truth. So, oh yeah, well, and he's, you mentioned the Pope, Leo. That would happen to be the leader of the other part of the Great Deception. I'm interested in what you're saying. Hang on, let me make sure I didn't miss something. I'm not sure what you mean by no fuel for the poor in the Northeast. Can you elaborate on that a little bit? I'm not exactly sure what you're saying there, Kevin, and I do want to know, because that sounds like it's an important thing to know. Oh, right on, Kevin. Right on. That's a damn good answer. That's a damn good answer. Get rid of my notifications here. So anyway, this Cash Patel thing, I think it's great. I really have been looking forward to that one, and I'm looking forward to see what happens. And I really hope we aren't getting taken for a ride. Um, if there isn't some very serious stuff done right from the get-go, then then I will be the first jumping and screaming and saying it's a bunch of BS and the typical stance that I've held for years. But I'm hopeful, and I want to give this an opportunity to work because you've got the right team put in place to really do some incredible stuff. So let's see if he does that. Let's see if he uses that. Got something else interesting, and I'm sure you probably heard about this. Let me have a sip of coffee. I think I might have said something about it Thursday, maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't remember. I do remember I need coffee to function, though. Oh, thank you, Leo. Okay. Biden says they're working with the FBI on hoax threats to lawmakers and Trump cabinet picks, and I'm suspicious of this. In fact, I know I talked about it Thursday night because I was talking about how it just seems real interesting that these are allowed to be to happen, and depending on who it happens to, we can't figure out who did it, and I don't believe that at all. Says President Joe Biden said on Friday that his administration was working with the FBI to address swatting and bomb threats made this week, targeting lawmakers and several of President-elect Donald Trump's cabinet picks. Representative Seth Magaziner, a House Democrat from Rhode Island, said on Friday he was targeted by a bomb threat at home, a day after 6 Democratic lawmakers from Connecticut reported similar threats to their homes over the Thanksgiving Day holiday. Law enforcement in each case found no evidence of explosive devices, the lawmakers said. Now, mind you, this came after a slew of these bomb threats, swatting attempts on Republican cabinet picks, right? The article goes on to say Pete Hegseth, Trump's choice to become defense secretary, and Lee Zeldin, Trump's pick to lead the Environmental Protection Agency, were among nominees targeted with bomb threats and swatting attempts on Tuesday and Wednesday. Swatting is a false, it goes into that, you know what that is. It says House Democrats will not be deterred or intimidated from serving the people by violent threats. Democratic House Leader Hakeem Jeffries, isn't that the guy? Am I mistaken? Wasn't he involved in a scandal? A big one? Hakeem Jeffries? Anyway, said it on a statement on Friday, and I could be wrong. If I am, I'm sorry. But I find it very interesting that these Republicans have these issues pop up, and then all of a sudden, more Democrats than Republicans had it pop up. And when I initially heard the report, they made damn sure that they said that all of the ones threatened on Thanksgiving Day were all Democrats. And the news really made an emphasis on that. So I don't think those are legitimate. I think those were made up to kind of try to balance that scale back when it comes to the whole nonsense going on. That's crazy stuff. Crazy stuff. And I don't believe that these people can actually get away with doing it. I don't think they can. I'm not buying it for a second. Not for a second. And I do got one other article here I have open to talk about. I hate a lot of these news websites, Reuters, and that they've got 50 gazillion ads on their website. My God. So I don't have like a super monster gaming computer. I've got like a mid-range gaming computer. And it's still a gaming computer. And it's pretty freaking bad when I gotta wait a solid minute and a half before I can even move a browser window because it's locked up because of all the damn ads that's trying to load in. That is insane. Absolutely insane. There needs to be frickin' laws put on that stuff. Advertising needs a lot of laws put on it, including laws against them being able to mine data from us to personalize our ad experience. All of that needs to be like outlawed. Just like by law they have to stop sending you emails if you ask them to stop sending you emails. Yeah. They need to have an opt-in, not an opt-out. They need to have an opt-in program for online ads where you have to opt in order to see them. Unblock Origin, I'll have to look into that. I've got ABP. I've got that on my Chrome browser. And it does a great job, but the problem is websites like Reuters and stuff won't load in if you've got that enabled. So you have to disable it or else the site won't let you load it in. I don't know if Unblock Origin does the same thing or not. Oh, you're right, Kevin, about the possibility of Trump being deeper state than them. I've long said, you know, after the first administration, and I saw a lot of good things happen. I also saw bad things happen, and I had asked then, did they pull the Trump card on the American people? Because that really sounds like the kind of in your face that these people are. I'll have to check that out, Leo. I'll absolutely have to check that out. Because I like ABP, but again, I think it's gotten so popular that the websites easily can detect it and stop the script from loading. I even had on the old Watchman News website, I had Google Ads on it, and I never did. There's an extension that I could have installed on Joomla that would have prevented the scripts from loading if somebody was using a pop-up blocker, but I wouldn't put them on there because I want people to be able to use a pop-up blocker and block the ads because I don't want that stuff to be forced on people. However, it would bring in a little bit. Now, AdSense, you have to build up $100 in order to get a payout. And since 2016 or so, when I signed up for AdSense, we've only gotten one payout ever. So we've only made it to $100 and one time. And I think currently we're up to like 30 something or whatever. So if the Father blesses me and I'm able to keep the website hosting, oh, that reminds me, I got to do that. We still got that, right? For the website. That $20. Okay. I guess maybe not. So I'm trying to keep the domain name at the very worst, and I thought we were going to hold back money for that, but I don't know. I don't know where we're at on that. So anyway, that's my goal. If I can possibly keep the damn domain, I want to keep that, but the hosting, That's like, I think it's like close to $60. I don't see any hope for keeping that. So that means the end of this month, there won't be a Watchman News website. There also won't be a Highland Patriots website for our local town. So, it is what it is. It's frustrating because I've been here doing this shit for over 10 years. I've always brought the truth. I've always been straight with people. And that's the problem. And it kind of, it pisses me off. It does. It pisses me off. There's no way that in today's society that an honest person can make it. They're just not. If you try to be honest anywhere, you're going to get kicked. Anywhere. And it's mind-blowing to me. And like I've said, I'll be homeless, lying in a cold, snowy ditch before I will do anything to risk my place with the Father, before I will lie to you, or any of that, or before I will turn into something to wow you all. We're not that. We're not that. And I realize I'm piss poor at what I do, but I'm honest with it. And I really had a hard time finding others out there that do it from an angle like I do. So, I agree. He'll always have my back. And regardless of what happens, especially with that, he's got other plans. He's got other plans. Maybe in 2 months there won't be a World Wide Web. So it would have been all for naught. I don't know. He's got the plan, and I've learned time and time again about how his plan, a hell of a lot wiser than mine. I like to put cars in ditches. That's what my plans do. They put cars in ditches. And he does a really good job of keeping me out of them. So whatever happens, good or bad, I give it to him, because I realize that he is protecting me. And that he's much wiser than what I am. Much wiser. So, and ever since I've done that, and it's been for a little over 10 years now, sure, I get situations that I'm frustrated. Sometimes I get wholly frustrated. But I don't look at it as a rut. I don't look at it as a negative. I always ask the same thing. And that is, what is he wanting me to learn? What is he wanting me to learn? And ever since I started asking that question, I have gotten so much clarity and understood so much more of his wisdom. And so that's one little tip, one little trick I recommend for anyone of faith to do. If it looks like things are stacking up against you, ask him, what are you trying to teach me? Give it a shot. See what happens. I know from my experience it's been amazing. Exactly. Thank you, Kevin. You're right. It's not always about us, but for the kingdom. You couldn't be any more correct. Couldn't be any more correct. So this last article I have here. Now, I think initially when the report came out, I want to say that somebody, I don't want to say Trudeau himself, but somebody said the report was not true. And that I do remember. But now the contrary is coming out. Trudeau promised Trump tougher border controls, says top Canada official. Says Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau promised President-elect Donald Trump that Canada would toughen controls over long undefended joint border, a senior Canadian official said on Sunday. Trudeau flew to Florida on Friday to have dinner with Trump, who has promised to slap tariffs on Canadian imports unless Ottawa prevents migrants and drugs from crossing the frontier. Canada sends 75% of all goods and service exports to the United States, and tariffs would badly hurt the economy. Public Safety Minister Dominic LeBlanc, it's probably LeBlanc, I'm not sure, who sat at the head table with Trudeau and Trump, said the two men discussed additional security measures Canada would be introducing. We're going to look to procure, for example, additional drones, additional police helicopters. We're going to redeploy personnel. We believe that the border is secure, he told the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation. It's important, I think, to show Canadians and the Americans that we're stepping up in a visible and muscular way, and that's exactly what we're going to do, he added, promising more details in the days and weeks to come. Canada, he said, would continue to make the case that tariffs would damage both nations, given how the interconnected the two economies are. I'm confident that the Americans will understand that it's not in their interest to proceed in this way, he said, describing the dinner meeting as very warm and cordial. Trump said on Saturday he discussed the border, trade, and energy in a very productive meeting with Trudeau. So I know initially they were saying that it wasn't true. Let's see. What are you talking about, Leo? About a few people that live there, insiders. I know that with the Mexican president, there was a statement that was made, and then the Mexican president said, "Oh, that's not true, that's not true." And come to find out that it is true, the statement about Mexico coming to the table with Trump because of this tariff thing. And I think what it is, I think the Mexican president, I think is trying to play both sides. Oh, insiders in high places in Canada. So what part lies? The part that they met and that they came to that agreement, or what? What part of it is lies? I don't know. I look at all of this, and I do believe Trump would do it. We watched him put tariffs in place before. Yeah, I don't know if they'll actually do anything to tighten the border up on the Canadian side. I don't know. I do believe that we'll have tighter border here in the United States on the U.S. side for both Canada and Mexico. But who knows what the other sides are going to do. But Trump has no problem putting tariffs on countries. And I know that there's been a lot of talk about that too, because of the individuals saying that, if he puts tariffs on, say, China and stuff like that on the imported goods, that the prices will come up. Well, that's kind of the point. And it's not to make you and I suffer. That's not. Here's the thing. If we want to fix the economy in this country, we have to fix employment in this country. And we can't do either one if we're not actually doing anything in this country. And there's no way to reach our goal of bringing manufacturing and all that back into this country without sacrifice. And I know that isn't something that people want to hear. But people are not, in many cases, making livable wages right now here in the United States. And I'm not trying to jump on the liberal bandwagon with this. It is a damn fact. And I've talked about it many times here. And anybody with common sense knows this. Back 50s, 60s, 70s, up into the 80s, a man could go work a job and support his family and not only have a car with payments in the driveway, a house with payments they were living in, but they also had enough money to put back for a nest egg, whether that be a retirement nest egg, an entrepreneurial, I never can say that word right, nest egg, any kind of a nest egg. They had the money to put back the nest egg and pay all of their bills. Now, you got to work 2 or 3 jobs just to be able to pay your rent and utilities, right? It's insane. It is absolutely insane. And there's only one way to fix that. And that's going to be sacrifice for everybody. Do you know what they did not have in the 60s, 70s, and 80s? A TV in every single room. You know what they didn't have in the 60s and 70s and 80s? The biggest frickin', not just one, but 3 of the biggest frickin' vehicles, most expensive vehicles you could imagine in the driveway. They didn't have all that stuff. There are a lot of ways today that we are living that weren't being lived back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. They didn't have all kinds of subscription services like Netflix, for example. Okay? They didn't have, the cell phone bills. Yeah, I was just bringing that up, Kevin. Kevin says a phone in every hand. Exactly. They didn't have all of the cell phone bills. So there are some things today that we have that they did not have back then. And they may be things that we have to give up. We may not be able to afford a phone in every hand. We may not be able to afford a TV in every room of the house. And that's a sacrifice that we have to be willing to make if we want to dig ourselves out of this hole we're in. And I'm not an economist, but I've got enough common sense to know the input-output deal with money. And we can't pay bottom dollar for goods and expect to be making top dollar wages, especially when those goods that we're paying bottom dollar for is not even keeping the money into the country. So there's no way to get back to a prosperous nation without a little bit of sacrifice on the way there. There's no way to do it. Sure, you could just print money and start handing it out, but that's going to drive up inflation. It's going to weaken the dollar even more and put us even deeper into a hole. So, again, it's going to take a little bit of sacrifice. That's just the sad truth. I hear you, Kevin. I'll tell you what, I've been more worried about money as of lately than I ever have in my entire life. And it is something that has really, and I'm not somebody that just sits there and, chews my fingernails over it. But I haven't been bringing in jack. Nothing, no decal work, nothing, no website work, nothing. And, I try and I think about ways that I can get that kick started again, and I draw blanks, and it's concerning to me. But I am hopeful. I'm optimistic that maybe now we can get the economy back in a positive direction at least, and maybe that'll pick up, because the work I do depends on how good all of you do. I build websites. I do bulk vinyl cut decals, mostly used for advertising with businesses. We're talking about decals that you might get in your box with your order that you can put on the back of your car, right? That's the kind of product I make. Bulk order. I'll do one-offs and stuff like that for people. I've got no problems doing that. But I focus on doing bulk decals because I would rather bust my butt and make a chunk of money versus making my chunk of money every once in a while on a one-off. You know? I don't mind working. I don't mind working my butt off. I would rather have that consistent, reliable business. I'll work my butt off for that. So, unfortunately, advertising costs are one of the first things a business will kind of start to pull back on if times are tough. And that includes things like cut vinyl decals. Because the economy's been in the crapper so bad, nobody's wanting websites built. Nobody's even thinking about starting businesses. Because right now, for instance, a lot of people are worried about the tax code and all the new crazy stuff brought on by the Biden administration when it comes to the tax code. So I'm hoping that when Trump gets in office, he'll get rid of a lot of that nonsense. I have a feeling he will. And people will be a little less worried about maybe starting a business. And that's where I come in. I am not the ultra professional when it comes to building websites, but I can build a safe, secure website that does its job, no problem. And, I've been doing it for over 30 years, so I know a thing or two about websites. And when I say that, I don't mean just how to code or anything like that, because I'm actually not a super coder. But I know what works and what doesn't work. I know what people are looking for when it comes to websites. I know what the no-goes are, so to speak, like making a website that's not very easy, the navigability is very poor on it, or it's confusing on how to use the website. You can't have any of that. It's got to be clean looking. It's got to be easy to navigate. Everything, especially like checkout processes, have to be as simplified as you can. You have to make the experience an enjoyable one, or at least one that somebody doesn't mind going through. And those are very important things for websites. But when nobody's starting businesses, I don't charge, and that's the other thing, I don't charge what like a lot of the web administrators would. Man, websites aren't cheap. They are not cheap. And I am not the guy that can charge a fortune for a website, because I think that is wrong. I don't give a damn about how many years I've been doing it. I don't give a damn about the technical aspect of it. I give a damn about the amount of time that I put into the website. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to charge somebody thousands of dollars because I put a week into a project. That is BS. That is, for me, if that's good on, with you, you do you, boo, but I can't do that. I couldn't sleep at night if I did. I will build somebody a website that should probably cost about $5,000 or something like that, just for the base of the website. I don't know. I'll charge $500. If I have to put a weekend building a site, I'll charge $500. And go ask web administrators about that. They'll laugh. Say, hey, if I have you build me a website that takes you a week to do, would you take $500? They will laugh their asses off at you, because that's not even close. But I can't sleep at night knowing that I charge somebody $1,000 a day to build a website, sitting on my ass in my living. No, homie, that ain't me. So I sell myself short all the time. But I would rather work my ass off to earn my keep than screw people out of it. Just kind of, how it is. Anyway, I don't have anything else that I know of. I'm waiting for that. I'm still battling the back thing. Like between my shoulders. I don't know what it is. So, it's not horrible. It's certainly manageable. But it's pain in the butt. There are things I have a hard time doing because it sends pain all through my damn body whenever I have to use very much force that involves those muscles. Holy cow. But other than that, if I'm not doing anything to aggravate it, it's okay. But hopefully, one of these nights here soon, I go to bed and wake up without it hurting. Or hopefully somebody stops by someday that, oh, I got a buddy that might be stopping by tomorrow. Anyway, hopefully somebody stops by soon that can step on my back. Because that's all it would take. That's all it would take. Somebody to step on my back and would pop, I'd be good. But, it is what it is. So anyway, I am going to get off of here and catch some sleep. And, God willing, we'll be back tomorrow with more nonsense. I might even have another little humorous monologue for tomorrow night. I thought that was pretty cool. Right on, Kevin, I agree. Let us store our treasures in heaven. Amen on that, brother. Anyway, I will see you all, hopefully tomorrow night. I hope you have a good evening. And shalom. See you later, Kevin. See you later, Leo. Good night, brothers.